When I first met Lisa, I thought I had hit the jackpot. She was everything I had ever hoped to find in a partner. Smart, ambitious, and effortlessly charming. Her sense of humor could light up a room, turning even the most mundane conversation into something special. We met through mutual friends at a dinner party, and from a moment she laughed, a full, uninhibited laugh that made people turn their heads. I was hooked. There was something about the way she carried herself, the way she made everyone around her feel important, that drew me in instantly. She was magnetic, and I couldn't help but gravitate toward her. From that night on, things moved quickly. Within a few months, we were practically inseparable. Our weekends were filled with spontaneous getaways, long drives with no destination in mind, and quiet mornings where we would sip coffee and talk about our dreams. We built a world of shared jokes, whispered confessions, and an unspoken understanding that we were creating something real, something lasting. Lisa's career was taking off at an impressive pace. She worked in a fast-paced corporate job, a high-powered environment where she thrived. She was the kind of person who could walk into a room and command respect without even trying. Her colleagues admired her, her bosses trusted her, and she had a way of making success look effortless. I was proud of her, proud to stand by her side and watch her climb higher with every passing year. My own path was different. I ran my own landscaping business, something I had built from the ground up with my own hands. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't the kind of job that turned heads at cocktail parties, but it was mine. There was a deep satisfaction in taking something wild and overgrown and transforming it into something beautiful. I loved what I did, not just because it paid the bills, but because it gave me purpose. Every project was a testament to hard work, patience, and vision. Lisa used to tell me she admired that about me. She said she loved that I wasn't chasing corporate success like everyone else, that I was focused on building something of my own. She told me I inspired her. I believed her. At first, I didn't notice a shift. The comments started subtly, almost playfully. "Oh, you wouldn't understand office politics," she'd say with a teasing smile whenever she vented about her job. Or, "You're lucky you don't have to deal with spreadsheets and meetings all day." I would laugh along, thinking nothing of it. She was just venting, right? It wasn't about me. But over time, the comments changed. "Must be nice," she joked one night over dinner with friends. "Going to play outside all day instead of dealing with real deadlines." I laughed with everyone else, but something about it stung. I told myself I was overthinking it. She was just making conversation, just filling the space with words. But then it happened again, and again. Little by little, it became clear. Lisa didn't take my work seriously. Still, I loved her. I convinced myself that the comments didn't matter, that they were just words. She was stressed, exhausted from work, maybe even unaware of how it sounded. I told myself she didn't mean it. And then I proposed. It wasn't some grand orchestrated event. It was just the two of us at home, in a moment that felt right. I poured my heart into it. Told her how much I loved her, how excited I was to spend my life with her. She said yes. She smiled, kissed me, and for a little while, everything felt perfect again. But the cracks were already there. The unraveling truly began at one of her office parties, a swanky corporate event held at a high-end venue, the kind of place with dim lighting, a string quartet in the corner, and waiters weaving through the crowd with trays of expensive appetizers. Lisa had insisted I come, saying it would be a great opportunity to meet her colleagues, to see the world she lived in every day. I wasn't entirely comfortable with the idea. Corporate settings weren't my thing, and I wasn't sure how I'd fit in. But Lisa was excited, and I wanted to support her. So I put on my best dress shirt, made sure I looked polished, and walked into that world by her side. At first, everything seemed fine. Lisa introduced me with her usual charm, her hand resting lightly on my arm as she beamed at her colleagues. I smiled, shook hands, made small talk. Then came the inevitable question. "So, what do you do?" The man asking was in his early 40s, his suit tailored perfectly, an expensive watch peeking from under his cuff. "I own a landscaping business," I said, standing tall. "We specialize in transforming outdoor spaces, creating something beautiful from the ground up." His reaction was subtle but unmistakable, a slight lift of the eyebrows, a polite but dismissive smile. Ah, that's interesting. I ignored it, but as the night went on, I noticed a pattern. Every introduction led to the same question, the same response, the same barely concealed flicker of condescension. And then Lisa joined in. Someone asked how we met, expecting a romantic story. Instead of the sweet version she usually told, she chuckled and said, "Oh, he's my hard-working handyman." The group laughed. I froze. Hard-working handyman. That was how she described me. It got worse. One of her colleagues, emboldened by the alcohol, joked about Lisa dating down. Lisa didn't correct him. She laughed, a full, genuine laugh, like it was the funniest thing she'd heard all night. Then the final straw. Someone turned to Lisa and asked if she thought my business would ever grow into something real. She smirked. I don't know. Maybe one day he'll be landscaping for CEOs instead of retirees. Laughter rippled through the group. I didn't laugh. I looked at Lisa, waiting for some kind of reassurance, some sign that she realized how wrong this was. She didn't even notice my reaction. She was too busy basking in the moment. That was it. "I think I've had enough," I said quietly, setting my drink down. Lisa turned to me, confused. "Where are you going?" "Home," I said. "You can explain why to your friend." The drive home was silent. My hands gripped the wheel, my jaw clenched as I replayed every humiliating moment of the night in my head. When we stepped inside, I turned to face her, my voice steady but cold. "What the hell was that?" Lisa looked genuinely confused. "What are you talking about?" "You know what I'm talking about," I said. "The jokes, the comments, laughing along when your coworkers mock me. Is that how you really see me?" She sighed, rolling her eyes. "You're overreacting. It wasn't a big deal." I shook my head, anger bubbling to the surface. "Lisa, they treated me like I didn't belong, and instead of standing up for me, you made it worse." Her expression softened for a moment, but then she said something that broke me completely. "It's not like your job is prestigious or anything," she said flatly. "I mean, you mow lawns for a living. What do you expect people to say?" I felt something inside me shatter. I exhaled, my voice barely above a whisper. "Is that all you think I do?" She didn't answer. I nodded slowly. "I can't do this." She frowned. "Do what?" "This," I said, gesturing between us. "This relationship. This engagement. I can't marry someone who doesn't respect me." For a moment, I thought she might apologize. Instead, she crossed her arms and said, "Fine, maybe we shouldn't get married." I met her gaze, my decision clear. Maybe we shouldn't. I agreed. I took off the engagement ring I had given her and placed it on the counter. The metal felt cold against my fingertips, a stark contrast to the warmth I had once associated with it. A symbol of love, now just an object. "Goodbye, Lisa." And just like that, it was over. The days that followed were a blur, a fog of disbelief and disorientation. One moment we had been making wedding plans, debating over venues and floral arrangements. The next, it was all erased as if none of it had ever mattered. The engagement was over, the wedding was canceled, and Lisa had vanished from my life just as quickly as she had entered it. At first, it didn't feel real. I kept catching myself waiting for her. I would hear a noise and glance toward the door, half expecting her to walk in with a casual "hey," as if nothing had changed. I found myself reaching for my phone, ready to text her about something trivial, only to stop when I remembered there was no reason to. The silence was the loudest part of it all. The house felt emptier. The closet once filled with her clothes now had an unsettling void. It was strange how something as simple as an empty hanger could carry so much weight. But the worst part wasn't the loneliness. It was the questions. Had she ever truly loved me? Had she always looked down on my work? And if she had, why had she said yes when I proposed? The doubts gnawed at me in the quietest hours of night, refusing to be ignored. I threw myself into work, hoping to drown out the thoughts. My landscaping business had always been a source of pride, but now it became my refuge. The act of creating something tangible, something beautiful, gave me a sense of control when everything else felt uncertain. Every lawn I transformed, every garden I designed, every satisfied client reminded me that I was good at what I did, that what I did mattered. My friends were quick to rally around me. "She didn't deserve you," one of them said over drinks one night. "You're better off without her." It was a sentiment I had heard before, one of those well-meaning cliches people offer in times of heartbreak. But sometimes, cliches are exactly what you need to hear. My family was just as supportive. My mother, never one to hold back her opinions, shook her head when I told her everything. "She's out of her mind if she couldn't see how lucky she was," she said, her voice firm. Little by little, I started to reclaim myself. I took up running again, something I hadn't done since college. The early morning quiet, the rhythmic sound of my footsteps against the pavement, the cool air filling my lungs, it was therapeutic in a way I hadn't expected. I also started journaling, writing down every emotion, every lingering resentment, every lingering hurt. Seeing my feelings laid out on paper made them feel more manageable, less overwhelming. Then one evening, while scrolling through social media, I saw her, Lisa. She was at a work event, dressed elegantly, smiling with a glass of champagne in her hand, surrounded by colleagues. For a brief second, something stirred inside me. Anger, sadness, maybe even nostalgia. But then, just as quickly, the feeling passed. It didn't matter anymore. She was living her life, and I was living mine. And for the first time since the breakup, I realized that was okay. 6 months passed, and my business was thriving. What had started as a way to keep busy had turned into the most successful period of my career. High-profile clients were taking notice of my work, recommending me to their networks. The projects grew larger, the payments grew better, and for the first time, I felt like I was stepping into the best version of myself. The breakup had been painful, but it had also been a turning point. Then, unexpectedly, Lisa reached out. The text came from an unknown number. "Hey, it's Lisa. Can we talk?" My first instinct was to ignore it. What could she possibly have to say now? But curiosity is a powerful thing. After a moment's hesitation, I replied, "What do you want?" She didn't beat around the bush. "I've been thinking a lot about what happened. I want to apologize. We met at a small coffee shop, a place we had once gone together. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table. She looked different, tired, maybe even a little lost. "Thanks for meeting me," she said as I sat down. "What's this about, Lisa?" I asked, keeping my voice neutral. She hesitated, fingers wrapped around her coffee cup, as if searching for the right words. "I owe you an apology," she finally said. "For everything. For how I treated you. For the things I said at that party. I was wrong." I waited, letting her continue. "I didn't realize how much I hurt you," she admitted. "I was so caught up in my own world that I didn't see how disrespectful I was being. You deserve better." Her words sounded sincere, but they didn't erase the past. "I appreciate the apology," I said. "But why now? What's changed?" She looked down, stirring her coffee absent-mindedly. "I've had a rough year. Work's been challenging, and I've had a lot of time to reflect. I know I can't undo what I did, but I wanted you to know I'm sorry." For a brief moment, I almost felt bad for her. Almost. "I'm glad you had time to reflect," I said. "But your apology doesn't change what happened. You didn't just hurt me, Lisa. You made me feel small, like I wasn't enough. That's not something I can just forget." Tears welled in her eyes, but she nodded. "I understand." I stood up, feeling lighter than I had in months. "Take care of yourself, Lisa." Walking out of that coffee shop, I felt something I hadn't expected, closure. Her apology hadn't fixed anything, but it had allowed me to fully let go. Life after Lisa flourished. My business reached new heights. A corporate client hired me to redesign the landscaping for their office building, an office building just down the street from Lisa's company. The irony wasn't lost on me. The project became one of my greatest successes, bringing even more opportunities my way. The work Lisa had once belittled as just mowing lawns had become something prestigious, something respected. Beyond work, my personal life thrived. I reconnected with old friends, spent more time outdoors, and eventually started dating again. One connection turned into something real. Megan and I had known each other since college, but life had pulled us in different directions. When we reconnected, everything felt easy, effortless. She was warm, funny, and most importantly, she respected me, truly respected me. One evening, as we walked through a park I designed, she turned to me and said, "You create beauty." How many people can say that about their job? For so long, I had let Lisa's words make me question my worth, but Megan saw me, really saw me, and she valued what I did. Looking back, I realized how much I had grown. The breakup had been painful but necessary. It forced me to reevaluate not just what I wanted in a partner, but what I deserved. I deserve respect. I deserve someone who saw me as an equal, not a joke. Now, my life is exactly where I want to be. My business is thriving. My relationships are stronger than ever. And I found someone who values me for who I am. Sometimes, the hardest decisions turn out to be the best ones. And to anyone who has ever felt disrespected or undervalued, don't settle. Walk away if you have to. The right people will see your worth, and the right life is waiting for you on the other side of the goodbye.